Having understood the three different types of changes, now let's get into the next three different types of changes. Let's begin with the fourth type of change, that is natural change and man-made change. Changes that are brought about by nature are called as natural changes. The best example for this is the growth of a baby into an adult. Similarly, the growth in animals, in birds, plants, etc. Change in season that is brought about by nature. Eruption of volcanoes. All these are examples of natural changes. Man-made changes are the changes that are brought about by man, which means that it does not occur naturally. Burning of fuels, chemical reactions that are performed by man, converting an iron into steel, deforestation, that is cutting down of trees, injecting chemicals into fruits, especially for faster ripening of fruits, pollution of air that is created by human by burning of fuels. All these are the examples of man-made changes. The fifth type of change is reversible change and irreversible change. Any change that is temporary, and if it can be reversed by change in conditions, then we call it as a reversible change. Let's see the example of melting of ice. Is melting of ice a temporary change? Yes. On heating, ice melts to form water. And water on cooling is converted back to ice, which means that by changing the conditions of temperature, we can reverse water back into ice and vice versa. Therefore, we call it as a reversible change. Similarly, melting of wax, stretching of rubber band, drying of clothes, melting of an ice cream, melting of chocolate, magnetizing a piece of iron. A piece of iron on exposing to a magnetic field has got magnetic properties. If the magnetizing field is removed, then it demagnetizes. All these are examples of reversible changes. Irreversible changes. Unlike reversible changes, these are permanent changes, and also it cannot be reversed by change in conditions. Burning of a paper, a candle or a piece of magnesium ribbon, all these on burning, we cannot convert it back into the original substance. This cannot be even done by any change in conditions. Other examples like curdling of milk, rusting of iron, baking of a cake or bread, cooking of egg, all these are the examples of irreversible changes. The last classification of change is physical change and chemical change. If a change is temporary and reversible, and there is no new substance formation, and the composition and the properties of the original substance is retained, or in other words, the composition and the properties of the original substance does not change, then we call it as a physical change. Let's understand this with few examples. What happens when we cool water? It gets converted into another form called as ice. On keeping ice in room temperature for some time, we can convert it back into the same liquid. Likewise, on boiling liquid, we get water vapors. And by the process of condensation, water vapors can be converted back into the same liquid. Likewise, let's take the next example. Let's take the example of making of a lemonade. We mix lemon juice, sugar and water to make a lemonade. Here, we are not changing the properties of lemon, sugar and also of water. The lemon in lemonade still has got the sour taste. Sugar after mixing also retains its same sweetness. And water also does not change its property and composition. And by physical processes, all of these can be separated back. That means, here, by dissolving, we are only changing its form from one to another. So here, in both the cases that we have seen already, the change is only a temporary change and also it is a reversible change. Here, we only change one substance to another form. And therefore, no new substance formation is observed. And also, we were able to retain the individual properties and composition of the original substance. Therefore, the change is only a physical change, which means it is only in the physical state or in the size or in the appearance. And therefore, we call such changes as physical change. Other examples are magnetization of iron, boiling of milk, expansion of a substance on heating, rails which are made of steel. When it gets hotter, it expands, and on cooling, it contracts, which is only a physical change. Likewise, melting of ice cream is also an example of a physical change. Next, let us see chemical changes. Just opposite to physical change, a chemical change is permanent and also irreversible. In this case, there is new substance formation. Also, the new substance that is formed will be with different properties and composition compared to the original substance. Let's see. When we bring a magnesium ribbon and burns it in the air, what happens? As you can see here in the picture, magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame in the presence of oxygen. This forms a new substance called as magnesium oxide. That means here a chemical reaction is taking place. Next, in the case of rusting of iron, what happens here? Iron is exposed to air and moisture and it gets oxidized and forms a new substance called as iron oxide, which we see as this brownish reddish rust. So here we see the formation of a new product, that is iron oxide. Similarly, in the curdling of milk, milk changes to form a new substance, that is a curd or paneer or cheese. Burning of coal, frying of an egg. In all these cases, there is a new substance formation and these changes are permanent and irreversible, and also the new substance that is formed has formed with different properties and composition compared to the original substance. Therefore, we call this as a chemical change. Let us look in detail about all these changes, chemical and physical changes, with examples in the coming classes.